Hello and welcome back to my channel, Olivia Rose Floral Designs, and today I'm going to be showing you how to make this beautiful Christmas centerpiece for your table. So the foliage we're going to use today, the first thing I'm going to use is this Nobilis Spruce, and it's very Christmassy, a great foliage for all Christmas arrangements, and it lasts quite a long time. And the second one we're going to use for our second main base is this ivy. So this is tree ivy, and during the summer these have little white flowers, but towards the autumn and winter they turn into these really beautiful black berries, and they just give the arrangement some depth and a nice Christmassy feel as well. So I've also prepared the flowers for our arrangement today, and I'm going to be using two different size roses. So you can see here they're very similar in colour, but they're just different sizes. So we've got our Madam Red Roses and we've got our Red Ribbon Roses. So that's the name of the rose that I'm using today. And then we have these beautiful Burgundy carnations. And as I've shown in previous videos, if you want to open them up, you just manipulate the petals until they're at the perfect size. So I've gone ahead and prepared all of my flowers, including my carnations. But I have left some in bud. And to finish off our display, I'm going to use these absolutely beautiful Hypericum Berries, and I absolutely love using these in winter bridal bouquets or Christmas arrangements. Okay, so I'm just about to go and get my 30cm Oasis Ring, which is based in a plastic tray today, and we'll get started on putting this beautiful Christmas arrangement together. Okay, so I have my Oasis Ring. So these are the ones, like I said before, in plastic, and they also have these little rubber feet on, so they don't scratch or slide around. And the reason I've gone for plastic is because we need to keep this arrangement watered, and by having a plastic tray it just captures all the excess water that comes off the Oasis. And you'll also notice when you make these you do need a cloth handy, because as I'm piercing the Oasis with the foliage and the florals, it does push some of the water out, so it does get a little bit messy. So I just like to have a little bin handy, or a sheet on the floor, like a plastic sheet, that I can just capture everything at the end and pop it in the recycling. So along with this, my finishing touch will be to have a vase in the center of this with a candle in the middle. So I've got two types of vases that I'm going to show you, and I'm not sure which one I'm going to use at this stage, so we'll see at the end which one I use, but I will show you those towards the end of this video. So first of all, I'm going to take my spruce. So I have cut this down already because I get it from my local supplier in big bundles, and then you just take the pine leaves and you take them off like so. Cut it down. So you've got this long edge, and then what we want to do is have this pointing downwards. So I'm also going to chop the long part off at the top, because you've got to remember it's a table arrangement and you don't want to take up too much room on the table. So I'm just going to go around with my knife and take these pine needles off and work my way around the outer edge of the Oasis ring. So you might find it easier to pull these off with your fingers, these excess pines, and then you just simply pop them in. So I'm going to go ahead and fill the ring with these, just to save some time. Okay, so I'm going to put my last piece in of my Oasis, and you must remember, the more pieces you add to the Oasis, the more compact they are and the more difficult it is to get other florals in towards the end. So try and keep your stems as short as possible, and when you're putting the base ones in, try and do it so when you put them in you kind of point them downwards, and then you can manipulate and bend the foliage down. So you can see here it's quite springy, and they do have flexible stems. So I've just done this so far, So I've given it a good covering. You may think there's some pieces longer than others, but you can trim at the end. But there's no real rule to this, because as you put more and more foliage and florals in, it will start coming into place and taking shape. So I'm now going to move on to my tree ivy, and I've already prepared them and I've cut them down into smaller pieces. So again, I'm just going to pick off the leaves I don't want, cut the stems down, and I'm actually going to nestle these quite deep into my arrangement. So I'm going to start by going all the way around the edge and then spreading the leaves. Once you've got them in there, I'm spreading the leaves and I'm placing them exactly where I want to. So again, I'm going to take another piece of ivy. You'll be surprised how much of this you actually go through and use. So I'm going to go in between all my pieces of spruce around the edge. So I'm going to start here and I'm going to go all the way around my bottom edge. I'm then going to go inside the ring and I'm going to dot them round on top as well. And at that point I will reassess what the arrangement looks like, where there's some gaps, where I might need to swap some pieces out. Sometimes you can then start to see where some bits are larger than others and you can swap for other pieces, or add more ivy, or add more spruce, or take it away. So it's very flexible. You just need to work with it and not put too much stress on yourself for it to be perfect, because at the end it's going to look absolutely stunning. So let's put the ivy in and see what that looks like afterwards. Okay, so I've filled my my Oasis ring in with all the ivy. You can see all the tree ivy and the little blackberries. Some of them haven't quite turned to berries, so it's a really nice contrast in colours and depth. So what I would do is just check that you've got no gaps, is just lift it up and just move it around. If you've got a lazy Susan, then you can do so on the table, but I just like to lift it because then you can see a little bit clearer. Also, the idea of the vase, which I'm going to show you now, there's two types. We've got this large one, which I really love, and I think this is 14 centimeters. So I'm going to go with this one. I'm going to put a candle in this at the end so you can see, and I just think that's really beautiful. So you need to make sure that there's no gaps around the edge of the Oasis and the vase. So you want to make sure that inner circle is completely covered with foliage as well. And you'll be really shocked and surprised at how much foliage this takes. So you may think you've bought enough, but always buy extra, or if you're foraging in the local woods for the ivy, just make sure you forage for enough, because it does really fill up and you can only use the end tips normally, because the ivy further down the stems can be quite tatty and straggly and it's no good. So I only use the ends of the ivy. So what I'm going to do now is I've just prepared a few more pieces of spruce. So what I've done is cut them off the ends, got rid of the needles here just so I can fit them into my Oasis. You can use a knife or your hands. Myself, I use my hands, as you can see. It's just a habit. I've done it for years. That's why I don't have lovely long nails. And I have grubby gardener's hands all the time. So I just remove the pines with my fingers. You can use a knife. I do have a floristry knife somewhere, but I just find it easier to pull them off. So I'm just going to go around the inner centre of my wreath, and I'm going to put 4 pieces. So I've already placed one, and I've just got these 3 now to pop in. So I'm just going to do that. And that's just so the spruce follows through all over the inner circle, like from the outer, on top, and then inside. But I like to put these inside pieces of spruce in at the end, just so I can kind of balance them out nicely when I've got the ring fully foliaged. So now I'm going to go for my roses. So I've prepared my roses already. I've taken off all the thorns and the leaves in advance, and I like to do this just so it's a bit more organized and I can see what I've got and what I'm doing. And I'm just gonna place these not in any particular order really. I'm gonna place one facing outwards and then one slightly inwards, outwards, inwards, and I'm just going to go around with some of my roses, and I'm going to use the 2 different sizes as well. So I'm not going to put too many of these in because you don't want it overpowering the table arrangement. So I'm just going to go around and pop these in now, and we'll see what it looks like. So you need to cut them so they're a few inches in length, the stems, and I like to pull off these outer guard petals. There's nothing wrong with them. Sometimes they can be brown and a bit crispy, but it's just because they're protecting the actual rose. So I'm going to put that in like so, and I'm going to put it so it kind of nestles in with the foliage. I don't want them sticking out. So what we don't want is for a rose to be sticking out like so. It just looks a little bit foolish for this particular arrangement. So again, I'm just going to place this one here. And remember what I said before, the more foliage you have, the more difficult it is to get your flowers in. So I'm starting with my larger roses, and I'm just going to go around the edge like so. Okay, so I've started with 5 roses on the outer edge, and I'm now going to use the smaller ones to come inside slightly. Another thing is when you cut your roses, if you cut it here before the little knuckle, it's harder to get in the oasis. So I always cut at an angle just above the knuckle, just so you can get it in the oasis a lot easier. Otherwise you may find that you're trying to tackle with the flower and you end up bending it and damaging it. And you're more likely to damage the oasis as well. So with the smaller ones, I'm just going to go for 4 inside. And then I'm going to go for some round the outside as well. So you can see there's a knuckle here. Oh, sorry. A knuckle here and a knuckle here. And this time I'm going to go for the longer one. I'm just going to simply pop these. Again, not in any particular order, just around the outside. Couple more of the roses, and again above the knuckle. So I'm just constantly assessing and reviewing, and I just think I've got a little gap here, so I'm going to have one more rose, and I'm going to go above this knuckle here, just make her a bit longer, and pop her at the back. Okay, so now you can see all my roses are in, my tree ivy's in, and my spruce, and we still have a big enough gap in the middle for our vase. And this is looking really, really beautiful. I'm hopefully zooming in and you can see this clearly. How gorgeous that's starting to look. So what we're going to do now is add some nice burgundy carnations and some of our berries. So I'm going to use these beautiful burgundy carnations. You can see how gorgeous they are. I think on camera they show to be a lot redder than they actually are. They're more of a burgundy colour. So I'm going to use 5 of these. I've chopped 4 down already, and then I've got to chop 1 off of this cluster. So this is how I buy them. They come from my suppliers in clusters of about 4 or 5. So let's go around and add these onto the top of the arrangement. So I'm just going to place them like so. And although they're a similar colour to the rose, they just give a different interest to the eye, a different flower within our arrangement. Let's give it some different interest. So I'm just going to put my last one in there. And there we have it. So we have all our roses. We have our carnations, our tree ivy, and our spruce. So for the finishing touch, before we add our vase, I'm going to cut down some of our berries. So this is the kind of size we're looking for, and I'm going to pop these in around the edge, because you've got to remember as well, this is for the center of a table. So ideally for a round table, or if you've got a long rectangular table, you could have two of these, one kind of each end, which is also beautiful. So when people are sat at the table, they are going to have the view of the side of the arrangement. So we want to make sure there's no gaps, like I said earlier, and they've got some points of interest, and then can enjoy all the different types of florals within our arrangement. So these ones as well, don't forget about the small ones, don't throw anything away, and you can just nestle these down among the Oasis just so they pop through. So they are at a lower level, but they're still visible, and they still make a big difference to the style of your arrangement. So I'm going to cut some more of these berries down, and I'm going to work my way around the edge of the arrangement. Okay, so I've put some berries round, so I'm going to continue to do so. So I'm just going to chop some more of these down and continue around the edge. When you're inserting some of these stems, it might be good to hold the inside of the Oasis as well. So I've put all of these round, and I'm going to go with a couple of larger clusters, kind of on the inside as well, but not too low down. So they're kind of on top, but pointing downwards. So I'm just going to get a couple more in. Like so. So again, when you arrange these, just make sure you pull all the leaves off and cut the smaller pieces down, and you can just go in and insert those like so. And then again, with these smaller pieces, don't waste them, just go around the top of the arrangement and insert them wherever there's a gap. Okay, and that's it. That is our arrangement, completely finished with our foliage and our florals. As you can see here, it looks like a wreath, and it is because it's on an Oasis ring, but it's for your table. So you could use it anywhere on a sideboard if you have a nice sideboard with a candle, or you could just have it for your Christmas table or in the kitchen if you have enough space. Okay, so now with my vase, I'm going to pop it into my centerpiece. So I'm going to lift these pieces up and the berries so you don't damage any of the flowers, and you can just pop it in like so and move the foliage upwards. Now with this vase, you can have a candle inside, you can fill it with baubles and lights, you can do whatever you'd like with the vase if you choose to use one, and whichever matches your theme. So now we have finished, and I have my candle in. I did have it lit, so I have blown it out. So this is just showing you from above how beautiful and stunning this arrangement is. You can see the foliage and florals come all the way to our vase. You can see how compact it is with all these beautiful textures and colours, and the fragrance is gorgeous. I really wish I could send that to you through the video. You can also take your candle out and you can just have the vase, or you can have it with no vase. It's entirely up to you. Thank you for watching today's video. I really hope you enjoyed it and it gave you some inspiration. For those of you that stayed to the end, I really appreciate your support. And if you haven't already subscribed, please do so. It's completely free and really supports my channel. I've also turned my lights off so you can see the effect of the candles. So I hope you can see the finished product. Take care, and I'll see you all soon. Thank you. Bye.